So we are now live on YouTube, Periscope, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Everett, thank you so much for taking the time. You know, this is a really interesting conversation. Just to open it up, last week I had a chance to catch up with Everett. You know, we go way back to the early days of Rapify, and we got started talking about his kind of reintroduction to LinkedIn, because there was a long period of time that you were off LinkedIn, and then that got us talking about overcoming ageism and discrimination, which is what we're going to talk about today. Now, just a quick background on Everett. He's a marketer that that really has grown quite a bit in the last couple of years. You know, we met when you were at Sticker Mule. You left Sticker Mule to go to Microsoft. Then you ended up being the CMO for Skirt that eventually got acquired. And then you started a portfolio of brands, including Pop Social and a handful of other really, really interesting companies. And now you're the CMO of Artsy. So it'd be awesome to just get a quick background from you, where you came from before Sticker Mule and what led you to be a marketer.
Yeah, I mean, wow, long story, but I'll keep it short. Really, I say all the time that we're fortunate to find what we're kind of meant to do. If you're fortunate, like a lot of people that come from where I come from, they're not fortunate to find their talent or skill. And I found that at an early age. I got my first marketing job at 14 years old. And so, I was very fortunate to be able to find that, because I was out on the streets doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. And I was able to learn those marketing skills and kind of find a path for myself very, very early on. But also I became obsessed with the tech industry as well when I was 17, it's been publicized a lot, but I was homeless and I used to go to the library every day, and I would use the internet there, and I was discovering all of these young tech entrepreneurs, and I was like, man, I can do that too. And so when I could apply to college, the only college I applied to was Virginia Tech, just because it had tech in the name. And so, I did that, ended up having to drop out. And that's when I, started my first company. And so my career has kind of been this interesting mix of entrepreneurship and, taking marketing executive roles at companies. And I've been fortunate to lead a couple companies to acquisition and sell one of my companies as well, and start profitable companies on the entrepreneurial side. So yeah, I'm terrible at talking about myself, James. You know this about me, but it's been a great career. I've been very fortunate over the past several years to be able to lead marketing for some really amazing brands, but also create some amazing brands myself.
It's been really awesome to get a chance to follow your career, because it's been something that I resonate with as well. And we both started our careers as young teenagers. I was consulting back when SEO was this black hat thing that, only really niche people figured out. And that came as a result of selling stuff on eBay when I was 11 and having to learn HTML to make a good looking eBay ad, and learning how to write copy to be able to sell items. And all of that foundation for the marketer I am today. And, kind of leading into early career, when I was about 23, 24, I was already a marketing director for a really cool company here in San Diego, data center and cloud business. And I was ready to make my next step. And I went out to apply to some different jobs. I really wanted to go work for a Fortune 500 brand. I wanted to understand what it was like to go work for a big brand. And I wasn't getting any responses. All the applications, for the most part, were going into the round file. I wasn't really seeing anything. And I was like, this is really weird. I'm wondering if it's because of how young I am. So, a lot of people put younger profile photos, to make themselves look better and look younger. So I thought, what happens if I just, add a couple of wrinkles and maybe add some gray in my beard and maybe look a little older. Not changing any of the facts about who I am, my background, experience, education, but just changing the profile picture. And I'm fortunate enough to have a better half that is a complete and total Photoshop wizard. So, and she uses it for evil sometimes too. But it was what was really funny about what was interesting about it was I'd made that one change, and I started getting interviews with huge companies, like with big brands like Amazon. And eventually I ended up getting a really amazing position at Ingram Micro, Fortune 50. And so I was talking to Everett last week about this, and he's like, you're going to laugh your ass off when you hear about what happened to me on LinkedIn. And it's kind of why I haven't been on LinkedIn for like 10 years or close to it. So Everett, it'd be awesome if you could share your experience and your story, because I think this is something that's going to resonate with a ton of young marketers.
Yeah, man. Oh, so I went to Virginia Tech my freshman year, and then I had to drop out of college to help out my mom, and I go back home to Richmond. Now, mind you, like I have been doing marketing for years. And even then, like my first year at Virginia Tech, I even had a job with United Way as a marketing coordinator part-time. And so I had probably like 4 or 5 years of marketing experience under my belt, even though I was 19 years of age. And, when I came back, I was looking for marketing jobs. I mean, like, shit jobs, James, like the lowest of the totem pole marketing jobs. And no one was giving me an opportunity. I created a LinkedIn because LinkedIn was all the rage. This was 2008, I think. And I created this LinkedIn, and I was really excited to be on this platform and this tech forward platform to finding jobs and opportunities. And I was sending out my resume and my profile to all these different people, and no one was giving me an opportunity, man. Like absolutely nobody. And I couldn't figure it out. And so, I was talking to a friend, and, I'm a marketer, so I'm always thinking about A/B testing. And so I decided to take 10 companies that didn't respond or give me an opportunity, create a fake LinkedIn page, same resume, different name, but with a photo of a white guy, and apply to those same marketing jobs from those companies. 70%, 7 out of 10 of those companies hit back the fake profile that did not even respond or get back to me with my actual profile. Same resume, just a different photo in a different name. And so I got pretty upset about that. I was a emotional teenager, 19, and I deleted my LinkedIn. I said, F this, man. Like, I don't want to be on this platform anymore. And I'm so happy that happened, because, I ended up having to take some minimum wage job at Joann Fabrics doing like stocking. And it catapulted me into being that risk taker that I am today, and like starting my first company. So I am thankful to LinkedIn for pushing me, that experience on LinkedIn for pushing me to where I am today, because if that never happened, maybe I'm not sitting in front of you today. Maybe if I got that low end marketing job and just kind of work my way up in XYZ, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm fortunate for that, but also I understand that's an experience that many people of color, women, young people, older people, all different ways of the intersectionality of being discriminated against have experienced through platforms like LinkedIn. And I used to think like, why don't people show their picture, or why don't people do this or do that? And now, like, I genuinely get it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because we both had these parallel, like we were both on these parallel paths. We both kind of experienced a lot of the same stuff. We come from completely different ends of the United States. We come from completely different parts of the country, but we both experienced similar things. We both were able to spark our entrepreneurial spirit early on, and we both ended up starting really, really amazing companies. We both ended up on the Forbes 30 under 30 in marketing and advertising. And we also both dropped out of college, which is also interesting. And so, when I was talking to you last week, I'm like, the world needs to hear this. The world needs to see this, because I think there's so many people that resonate with both stories, because, whether you're older, you're younger, you come from a different ethnic background, male, female, there's so many different things that will shut a door before you even have the opportunity. And I think that our ability to adapt and react and test and A/B test and do the things that we do as marketers to help us get an edge is something that a lot of folks, I think, should do, right? Because we didn't stop at no, right? You kept going. Now let's talk about some of the positives to being a young marketer, because one of the things that I also recognize about myself today versus myself as a 20-year-old or 24-year-old marketer is the type of hustle that you bring to a company when you're that age is really precious. And I don't think a lot of companies really understand that. The 22-year-old James would not sleep, for 3 days to make sure that we're going live with a new website, and would sleep in his car in the parking lot for 10 minutes. Whereas the James today probably wouldn't do that, So I'm curious, kind of how do you feel about that? The young marketers hustle and how to value that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think the hustle culture is a little bit toxic. We grew up, well, not grew up, but we lived in a time where that was really championed, to lose sleep and do whatever it takes to get where you're trying to go. And I just don't encourage that at all, to be honest. I know I might sound like a little bit of a hypocrite, because I might not be where I am today without putting that level of time in, but it's what is the sacrifice, right? What is the sacrifice on your body, your mental health, all of that? And so I want to put that caveat there first.
Oh yeah, totally.
But with all that being said, the level of energy and hustle that you're going to get from a young, hungry marketer at times isn't going to be the same as someone who is more experienced, because you just have more responsibilities. I don't know if 22-year-old James had your partner that you have now, right? Or having children, or different responsibilities and XYZ, or just physically not being able to work at that level anymore. But I don't want to just say it to age or anything like that. I think everyone is built differently. I definitely, despite the size and stage that Artsy is, I probably still hustle and grind more than your average CMO of a company of this stage. But man, I'm built for this, bro. This is who I am. And so, just keep in mind, I think the biggest thing to take away from this is don't judge either way. Don't judge whether someone is older is going to have the energy or the ability to do something. Don't judge someone that's younger. I tend to find some of these younger marketers now, despite a little bit of the lack of experience, that they're a lot more knowledgeable than the young marketers of the past. And they really know what they're doing in a lot of ways, and they just kind of maybe need a little bit more coaching. But I'm very big on investing in people, and understanding that talent comes in all shapes, sizes, ages, and forms. And so, yeah, man, I think there's definitely a energy that comes with a young hustler in marketing, but also I've seen people older hustle their butts off too. So, I try not to put anybody in a box there.
Now let's talk about some of the benefits of having those years under your belt. We talked about, our ability to work a little smarter, and that we have more responsibilities, and maybe our ability to manage people today, it has a correlation to that, because going back to the hustle culture piece, I I agree with you. There was a period of time where it was celebrated to be tired, and I worked at companies in the past where if you had to look like you were tired, otherwise you didn't look like you were doing your job.
If
And
you left early, can you imagine leaving work on time back in the day? Like on time, you couldn't leave on time.
no, you look like you're slacking. You'd be called a clock puncher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, going back to the Everett today, I mean, if you were to give your 19-year-old self some advice, what would you say?
Number one, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Like none of success, money, accolades, none of that means anything if you're not personally okay. Be able to also not have such a chip on your shoulder. I think for a long time that I had such a chip on my shoulder, just this fire to prove people wrong. And like some of that motivation just came from a very like toxic, insecure, not positive space. Like I have the utmost belief in myself, but at the same time, mixing that with this need for approval or this need to prove people wrong, I think it's the wrong way to go. I actually was talking recently about like legacy and how like a lot of times this need for legacy comes from a narcissistic place, or this need to be celebrated, when like just put in the work, and your real legacy is the impact that people won't individually remember you for, right? So yeah, I mean, I just think taking care of yourself, and then also like not allowing disappointments, failures, or people not believing you and treating you wrong, using that in a way like it should motivate you, but it can also get to a very toxic place too.
Yeah, I think, on the flip side, there are so many examples, so many times I remember grinding super hard. And today, like when I look at the project or whatever it was that I was working on, it's like, did it actually matter? Like, was it worth like falling asleep at the wheel on the 405? Like, was it worth sleep? Was it worth just beating the shit out of my body over? And every single time the answer is no, and it didn't matter. I mean, there are times where I didn't go and do something that I really should have done with my friends and family because I wanted to get this thing done, or I had to get this thing done. And and then while I'm enjoying something, for example, like I've never gone on a trip or gone, done anything that is fulfilling for me, I feel like I have to get back to work. I get this feeling of like, if I don't get onto my laptop and like check my emails and like make sure things are running, and it detracts, it pulls you away from like enjoying the now. And so I think my advice to myself would be in my 19-year-old, 20-year-old self would be, make sure you take time to really enjoy that period of your life, because you don't get to be 19, 20, 21, 24 again. And I've had people give me that advice then, and I was like, whatever, like, I don't care. So I think and the folks that are listening to this, that are that 19 to 24-year-old marketer, it's hard to ignore the chip on your shoulder because you really want to prove yourself.
Yeah. Trust. I understand, man, but you shouldn't do it for anybody but yourself, man. Like at the end of the day, you have to do it for you. And you also have to take care of yourself. I'm sure you've had those experiences, like being young, where you did decide to go out, and instead of going home and I've been out to the club or a bar and came home and got on my laptop and worked for a couple hours, like I've done that. And, some of the experiences, I remember I took my first vacation for like that I can remember when I was 25 years old. I was CMO of Sticker Mule. It was like we went to Cancun, And like for the first time in like year, like I couldn't remember. I know 25 sounds young, but I haven't been working since I was 14. So it was like 9 years. And it was the first time I was like, whoa, like I'm actually taking a vacation. Like this is crazy. Like at 25, like, you know, all those amazing opportunities and things that I missed out, not opportunities, but amazing times with friends and experiences and things like that. Like it's crazy. I feel like I'm experiencing some of those things late now, where like some of those things that I didn't get to experience back then, like I'm experiencing now. And my friends are like, dude, I'm married, I have kids. Like, but you know, it's interesting, man. You can't get that time back. Time is the most valuable asset and resource that we have.
It really is. Yeah, I still haven't gone on a vacation for more than like 3 days. I don't even know what that's like.
Right.
Like I don't even know what that's like. I have no recollection or memory of what it would be like to just disconnect for a week. Maybe one day soon, man. Hopefully sooner than later.
Rapid keep me busy, brother.
So talk to me about Artsy, because it's a really interesting platform.
Yeah.
And it'd be awesome just to kind of walk me through your passion and what led you to become the CMO of Artsy. I think that's also a really interesting story.
Yeah. So it's interesting because life is short. And I don't think we understand the gravity of that concept because we're living day to day, paycheck to paycheck and things like that. I was fortunate to be in a position financially and at a comfort level after, you know, Skirt got acquired and I'm entrepreneurial and my companies are doing well, to put myself in a position where I only want to work on things that I'm genuinely passionate about, right? That I can wake up every day. And that's why it took 2 years, literally. I mean, my companies are doing really well, so I wasn't in no rush. But 2 years for me to go into it took me 2 years to go into a new CMO role. And, you know, during those 2 years, I really fell deeper in love with art and my passion for art and the democratization of art, people having access to art, using it as a tool to preserve culture, but also being a piece to invest in and things like that. Like I find stocks and real estate pretty boring, but I find art fascinating. And also being a man of color and you know, seeing the opaqueness and the difficulty in breaking into that industry. And so I wanted to make an impact and change that for people like myself. And that was really important to me. And so I created a platform called ArtX. And, you know, I started working in the art space. And then I connected with Mike Stibe, who is was the new CEO of Artsy, coming over from The Knot. He sold The Knot for $1 billion, and he was the CEO of a publicly traded company. And he came on to Artsy, you know, to, you know, continue to scale up that company, and, you know, gave me the opportunity to work with him and build something that is going to change the world and impact the world. And that's something that I care about a lot, but also having the platform to impact the space in a way that I know is going to create a more equitable space. I was just talking to some of my colleagues today, and, you know, I realized that we've more than doubled the number of Black employees at Artsy since I've started. You know, I've had people tell me, hey, like, it's great to see your editorial and your highlighting of artists and the success of artists on a platform from diverse backgrounds get more love and more shine and be able to be more successful. And so I can see the impact there, and I couldn't do it without my colleagues. And it's just it's an amazing place to be and work at, and to impact a space that has been very tough to crack. And man, I love it, man. So I don't know if I answered your question, but, you know.
Well, yeah, you did. But for the folks that are watching that aren't familiar with Artsy, can you just quickly walk me through like what the platform is and what its target market is?
Yeah, absolutely. The target market is everybody. Everybody can be an art buyer, but really, you know, we're a B2B and B2C business. So on the B2B side, if you own an art gallery, you're an art dealer, or you want to sell art in any sense of the word, and you have a business and you want to be on Artsy, you can get yourself an Artsy subscription and sell your art through our platform. We have great matchmaking. We allow small businesses such as galleries be more successful. And then on the other side is the consumer side, where we have 2 million users on the platform of art collectors buying all ranges of art, from prints and multiples to original pieces of art, big ticket items to, things that might only cost a couple $100s. And so, yeah, Artsy is really a marketplace on the consumer side for you to find the art that you love and want to discover.
That's super interesting. We're looking at selling an art piece, and it's kind of a clunky process today, especially during COVID, because you can't go into a gallery, and you're kind of limited to all these like niche boutique websites, and Sotheby's doesn't care because it's it's not big enough of an item. And then there's like Etsy and all this other stuff, and Artsy kind of gives you that one place to be able to really connect to a lot of people that are looking for art. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, and one thing that's really exciting is our Sell with Artsy business, where now, like, if you have something hanging up on your wall in your home that's a value that you want to make money off of, you can now submit that and get a free estimate and sell that within a couple weeks on our platform, because we have the biggest network of highly engaged collectors anywhere. So, that's a big part of our business, is not only just relying on our partners, but also the secondary market of people that want to sell their art as well and make some money. So it's a really interesting business. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm glad to be there.
Awesome. Well, Everett, this is we're coming up on time. Is there anything else you want to share with our viewers and the folks that are going to watch this recording? If there's anything you could share with the young marketers that we haven't covered already?
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is that you got to run your own race. There's a reason why horses have blinders on. Comparison is the thief of joy. Like, you can't compare your journey to anybody else's. I've seen people who were a complete mess 2-3 years ago, and they're on top now, right? I've seen people who were literally irrelevant, like take art, for instance, right? Or marketing or whatever, a couple years ago, and now they're at the top of their game, right? You've seen like some of these people who went from relative unknowns to CMOs of the top companies within a few years, right? Like, it's crazy what can happen. You just got to keep running your race and doing your own thing, and not comparing yourself. Like, it's your journey, and you can't get discouraged. Failure is a part of it. You failed, I failed plenty of times, and it's the people that really pick themselves up and keep going, and not allowing failure to really deter them from their success. There's a lot of people that want success and all these great things, but there's not a lot of people that will continue to dust themselves off and try again. Shout out to Aaliyah. So, just stay focused and stay on your grind, and understand that life is a series of moments. Like, you not getting that job is a moment. You failing or getting fired is a moment. You having a company that fails is a moment. This is a marathon. So just always keep that in mind.
Yeah, I appreciate the sentiment. I'd like to follow or finish with, celebrate failure. My biggest teacher, and the only way I really learn, is by failing. It's really hard for me to read about how to do something and then do it perfectly. I have to fail. It's what teaches me. It's what teaches you. I guess the last thing I'd like to finish with is, what brought you back to LinkedIn? What got you to actually create that profile?
Yeah, it's been 12 years. And, for me, diversity and inclusion is a very important piece to me. And I understand that I'm handicapping myself with people having access to me or being able to discover new talent without having this platform. However I may have felt about LinkedIn, I think we're living in a new world, not a new world, a new space. It's still racist as hell. But it is a great tool now to be able to discover talent and connect with individuals that may be interested. And so I don't want to limit that access to creating a more equitable space within my company and finding diverse candidates. And I know, even though despite it being used against me in the past, I can use it for good now. And so, yeah, I think it's great. So yeah, I can't complain. I can't complain now. So
That makes sense. It's kind of like the last, the final piece of the chip on your shoulder is now gone.
yeah,
Right.
I'm good, man. I'm in this space, man. You know, you can't hold these grudges, man. I've literally turned down money. You know, I do like influencer stuff and all that as well. I've turned down oh my, tens of thousands of dollars from like deals to do something on LinkedIn because I was like, oh, I don't LinkedIn. I don't want to do it. And now it's like, oh, dude, you can't hold on to it. Let it go. People, let it go. Let go of that pain, man. It's not worth it.
Everett, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this. If you didn't get a chance to tune into the live stream, we'll have it posted on the event page. I'm sure Everett will probably get it posted out at some point. Really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks all.
Appreciate it, bro. Peace.